morning, viewers. I'm Christopher from BPG Programs. I will accompany you about 5 minutes with many kind of information. Well, let's begin the news today. COVID. Why are so many people catching it again? In the early days of the pandemic, it was extremely rare to hear of people catching COVID twice. That's not the case anymore, especially since the Omicron variant emerged in the late November 2021. Why are more people catching COVID again? Part of it, part of it is Omicron itself, a variant that's better at sneaking past defense built on old infection. Part of it is a number game. So many of us have already been infected at some point that a rising proportion of new infections are a second bout. But getting COVID twice in a short space for time is still pretty unlikely. Even with the latest version of Omicron which is widespread in the UK, and for most people a second infection is less likely to make them very ill. How likely are you to catch COVID twice? Eventually, pretty likely, immunity fades and coronavirus evolve. Most people can expect to catch the other coronavirus, such as those which cause common cold symptoms, many times in their life. But early in the pandemic, that didn't seem to be the case with COVID. Fewer than 1% of all cases recorded in the UK before November 2021 were labeled as reinfection. But then Omicron took over. This looks like very different to the version of coronavirus that we saw before. Its difference gave it a better chance of sneaking past the body early defense, which were based on exposure to previous COVID infection, and so the rates of reinfection have been about 10 times higher this year compared with rates seen earlier in the pandemic. How is the new version of Omicron different? This new spring Omicron, known as a BA2, has driven UK infection back up to record levels. The Office for National Statistics said that about 1 in 16 people across the UK had COVID in the week ending 19 March. It is similar, but even more infectious than the version that came before Christmas, Omicron BA1. If you had COVID in the past few months, it's likely to have been a version of Omicron, which in turn should give you good protection against a second bout of it. The data we have so far suggests that a second Omicron infection is rare but can occur. More reinfections have been seen among younger people and those who haven't been vaccinated. Laboratory studies suggest that a combination of an Omicron infection and vaccination could leave your body even better prepared to fight off a new infection than one infection alone. About 4.5 million people have a COVID booster dose since the start of the year, with another 2 million getting their second dose, and 10 million of us have protection from a recent infection. About 1 in 3 of us caught COVID during the first Omicron wave, but even if there's only a small chance of any one person catching Omicron a second time, you're quite likely to hear about it happening. It is small chance multiplied by the tens of million people who have recently had COVID. Will it make me sicker? So far, it looks like a case of BA2 is no more likely to put you in hospital than a case of BA1 was. And even if you do test positive again, that is not the same as being sick with COVID-19. According to immunologist Prof. Eleanor Rayleigh, it means there is virus in your nose and throat. The protection provided by vaccination or having had a previous infection is more useful at preventing the virus from getting into your body and doing serious damage. Then it is at keeping the virus out of your nose and throat. Prof really thinks if you test positive again but feel well, your main concern should be whether you might pass it on to someone who is particularly vulnerable. An infection can still land some people in hospital, particularly those with weakened immune system or underlying health condition. But despite the record numbers of COVID infection, the current wave is putting even fewer people in hospital than we saw in January. Precisely because so many of us now have a combination of protection from vaccination previous infection. During January's peak, about 55 of people in COVID beds in English hospital were being treated mainly for their COVID. The most recent figures for 22 March say that figure is down to about 45%, and the total numbers of people in hospital with COVID are less than half of what we saw in January 2021. The government hopes that spring booster vaccine rollout will help top up immunity for the most vulnerable and make it even harder for Omicron to cause serious illness, whether it strikes once or twice. Well, viewers, that's all the news. Good morning and thank you.